I recently met this girl. She's nice, fun, and I enjoy being around her, but she's just not my physical type. I'm still attracted to her. She's not unattractive, but there's nothing that really excites me. I'm not sure what to do. If any men with more experience could help, I'd appreciate it. I have gone on dates with this girl and spent time together. It's not like she's a girl I'm crushing on and need to ask out. I told her how I feel and that I'm just not 100% there. It went well and was peaceful. Story 1. To people we enjoy being around but aren't sexually attracted to, we call friends. This term seems to have fallen out of use. Story 2. Type doesn't matter. Are you physically attracted to her or not? If yes, maybe something. If no, just friends. Story 3. You're not a Pokemon gym leader. You're not bound to a type. You're allowed to date and fall in love with anyone, and it seems like you're attracted to this girl. So there's no problem here other than your own mental hangups. Story 4. If the physical attraction isn't there, then there is a chance that it will grow. But you will discover that quite soon. From experience, I was dating someone recently. Lovely woman, fantastic personality. I really enjoyed being around her, and she ticked most of my boxes. But after a few dates, the physical attraction wasn't completely there. We were intimate, but it never really was there for me. I tried to make it work and see if it could grow on me, but it just didn't. So we spoke about it and decided that it was better to end it and see if we could at least keep in touch as friends, which we are now. I don't want to lead anyone on, ever, and I feel like you shouldn't do that either. Physical attraction can grow, but if it hasn't grown within a few weeks, you should just end it for your and her sake. Story 5. The older you get, the more you'll realize this change. Sex is less than 1% of the time you spend together. A beautiful woman with an attractive body is fun to look at, for sure, but you'll soon understand that it's not everything. Is she nice? Does she have a good family? Is she nice to your family? Can she cook? Is she kind to strangers? There's so much more to a functional relationship than physical attraction. Story 6. If the connection is 10 out of 10 and physical attraction is 6 out of 10, I'd say go for it. If it's 5 out of 10 or less, I would say no. You do need a combination. Story 7. How old are you? I've dated some people that I wasn't originally attracted to but became more attracted to as I got to know them better. It's up to you to decide if she is worth pursuing. Story 8. In my experience, types are a very flexible boundary dependent on the circumstances. You like her and enjoy her company. You said so yourself. Just because she's not the usual type of woman you pursue shouldn't stop you from pursuing a relationship. Let her know how you feel. Story 9. You have a connection, and you're trying to talk yourself out of it with excuses. I accidentally hit the post button. I'm an older guy, closer to 57 than 56. I met my wife while hanging out with friends 25 years ago. We just clicked. I can't explain it any better. She could be the one. I think you should have a serious discussion with yourself. Story 10. If you're attracted to her as a person, it's definitely worth exploring. Physical attraction isn't everything. You might even find that the deeper your connection is, the more attractive she appears. Story 11. I'm not a man, but I am actually surprised by some of these comments. In my opinion, someone can be physically attractive to you, but there might be a lack of chemistry with them. It sounds like you could be great friends, but there are no romantic feelings on your end. You cannot force chemistry. Story 12. Physical attraction is important, and I'm not sure I agree with everyone here downplaying that. However, it's true that it's not everything. If I could quantify it in a relationship, it's probably 20% and 80% is everything else. Still, 20% is pretty significant, but you won't die without it. However, don't cut yourself short. Story 13. It's probably what you need. Go with it, embrace it. Do not follow the cliché that you've been taught. You can hang with her and not have sex. She'll probably appreciate that. You're a young man, I'm assuming, in your 20s. Don't overthink it. And don't worry about explaining it to her. If it works, it works. If not, let it go. That's part of life. The important thing is it's another experience in your life, nothing else. Everyone's going to give you different opinions. Do what you want. If you need to be attracted to her, then do you. If not, then just relax and let it flow. Story 14. I don't know. To those saying physical appearance doesn't matter, they may not experience the rift that can occur when there is no physical attraction. Subjective C+ marks. Original poster, sexual chemistry does matter. It definitely is not everything, but ask yourself if you're giving it a shot out of loneliness or sincere interest. Story 15. It's fine to date someone you're not totally physically attracted to, especially if they're a good person who makes you happy. But do you want your love life and sex life to be tied to someone who doesn't excite you much? I would rather have someone who loves me and is kind than someone who doesn't really care about me and treats people poorly. Your decision will depend on how much you value the physical aspect of the relationship. You can still live a very happy life this way, and you may also become more attracted to her as you get to know her better. Hope some of that helps. Story 16. That's how some of the best relationships form. You grow more attracted to them the more you enjoy being with them. Go for it. Story 17. I had something similar happen to me once. I liked her a lot, but she was not my type physically. We ended up dating for 4 years, and she was the best girlfriend I've ever had. I don't regret giving her a shot. Story 18. Yeah, I was with a woman recently who checked all the boxes and is conventionally beautiful but just didn't do it for me in terms of being sexually attracted. We are just friends now. It's okay to have friends of the opposite sex. Story 19. Been there, done that. It's called a friend. Super awkward because she wanted more, and I could never make the move, which made her feel unattractive. Story 20. I'd say go and find someone who will excite you and whom you find attractive because it seems like you would settle for her, and that's not cool for either of you. On the other hand, you said you are attracted to her anyway, so maybe you can make it work. Story 21. It happened to me before. I didn't go through with it. Love is like a fart. The more you have to force it, the more likely it is to be unpleasant. Story 22. I'll be okay with it as long as she is trying to take care of herself by exercising and eating healthy. Story 23. You can have a platonic relationship with her too. If that turns into something else, then it solves your previous issue anyway. Story 24. You could just be her friend. You don't have to date every girl you get along with. Maybe a relationship will develop as a result, maybe not. It doesn't matter. Story 25. The physical aspect will matter less as you move forward. The connection will matter more. If you have that connection in intimate moments, it won't matter if she isn't your physical type. You'll still feel attracted to her. Story 26. Find things about her personality that attract you. Does she talk to you a certain way or laugh like a dork or whatever? Those things will outlast the physical 11 out of 10 times. Story 27. Gotta be considerate of her position. If she's caught feelings for you and you aren't sure, you owe it to her to figure it out quickly and take responsibility either way. Story 28. Whatever you do, don't lead her on, giving her hope that something might happen. Be clear that you enjoy her company. A little white lie like, I'm not looking for a relationship right now, might not be a bad idea. Story 29. I really don't like the idea of having a type. Life gets easier if you go with the feelings. Don't limit yourself. Story 30. For me, as long as I find them attractive, it can work. If you don't find her attractive, that's one thing, but if you do, even if it's not super strong, you can work with that. You will probably be more attracted to them the more you get to know them. I think it's worth pursuing if there is some attraction, especially if you like everything else about her too. Story 31. Congratulations. You've got a friend. You may be attracted to her emotionally but not physically. It might be good to think about what you look for in a partner. Story 32. Well, what is your goal here? If you are trying to date, then get over it. Neither of you will be sexy in a few decades when gravity and time win the battle. If you are just trying to sleep with her, then that makes even less sense. Story 33. Currently in a relationship you could sum up like this. It's probably one of the healthiest relationships I've had. Sure, I miss being with a woman that I physically can't get enough of, but I don't miss the headaches, selfishness, and immaturity that more attractive women can tend to have. Story 34. If it's not a definite yes with regard to physical attraction, it's a no. You can do better and should find someone you're actually excited to be with. She should find someone who's excited to be with her too. Find a nice but final way to cut things off before you go any further. Story 35. So, you fooled around with this girl while you're sure you don't want it to be a relationship, and now you're looking for validation. You feel conflicted because you've gotten to know her well enough to recognize she's a decent person who is fun to hang out with. Did you consider not fooling around with her? Are you leading her on? You shouldn't. Maybe just tell her you're happy to hang out with her but not looking for it to become something more. Make room for informed consent to whatever this is, or maybe she decides to spend her time with someone else, or maybe she decides she's no longer comfortable doing things with you but still wants to hang out. Story 36. If you are not excited about her, then just be friends with her and save her from heartbreak when you find someone you would be excited for. Story 37. Easy. Remind her regularly about how emotionally unavailable you are while being casual when discussing sex. Let her see you flirt with girls who are your type, and even ask her for advice on those girls. Then flirt with her too while reminding her that you enjoy her friendship. At some point, she might try to prove that she has everything those other girls have, despite not looking like them, and she might start making suggestive remarks. You might receive attention, but from your side, keep it as friendship. That way, if she develops feelings, it's her responsibility. You might also get her to be your wing woman. A wing woman is often more effective than a wingman. If she isn't unattractive, you can potentially have threesomes with her and the girls you are interested in. That's probably what I would have done if I were still single. I'm sure someone will say it's toxic, but I had a great time in my early 20s and never had any negative experiences with girls. So I'll stand by what I said. Story 38. Sounds like you could just continue to hang out and be friends. Not every relationship with the opposite sex or any gender identity has to be romantic or sexual. Unless there's mutual attraction and desire for things to be romantic or sexual, just enjoy the good time. Ensure there's open and honest communication about each other's wants and needs. Story 39. Did you also lie through your teeth when telling her how attractive you find her? Or does she have to stand next to you? Story 40. This is what you call a friend. The same thing as a guy, right? They're cool, you enjoy their company, and you just don't want to be in a romantic relationship with them. Story 41. You're attracted to her, enjoy being around each other, and go on nice dates. Why would you be limited by what your usual type is? Story 42. You are already doing it. Stop leading her on and using her, or decide what you want and date her. Don't worry about how it looks. But imagine if this girl reads this. I hope she does for your sake and drops all contact. I hope she doesn't, because this is the rudest thing to say online about someone. I know two guys who only dated really attractive women, and here are the results. The first guy dated one or two until his mid-30s and now has a life partner who is average-looking, but I assume a great person. The second guy dated a lot, had many bad or crazy experiences, lots of fun but no life plan. In his late 30s, he has a life partner who is average-looking and not his physical type, but they just had a baby and are all super happy. It's fine to say, I don't think I like this, but don't be so naive as to say, because someone I connect with is this, I don't want to date them. Story 43. Okay, I'm not certain I'm doing her a favor here, but here goes. You like her, enjoy being around her and have messed around, but she's not your type, yet you still like her. So, what do you think happens when you find a girl you're attracted to but perhaps don't actually like? She doesn't share your interests, you don't get each other, but she's attractive. A pretty face is interesting for about 10 minutes. Give her an attractive body, perhaps 5 more. Make her inaccessible and something you strive for, and you might pine for that all your life and perhaps never experience it. And if you do, it might not be anything you even enjoy. If you're not into this woman like that, be clear. Be nice. Don't mess around with her head or emotions. But if you never find another woman you like and can hang out with, do her a favor and don't look for her. Leave her for a guy who'll like her for what she brings to the table. Story 44. I'm going to tell you a little story about a friend's wife. Brian was an unattractive man. resembling a cross-eyed hamster, skinny yet chubby, and not particularly successful. We hung out and drank a few times, forming a decent friendship. Then one day, he invited me and my girlfriend over for a double-date dinner and board games. When we showed up, we met Brian's wife. She was athletic, with a great figure, a pretty face even with minimal makeup. I'd say a legitimate 8. We had a conversation about how he managed to be with her. We got to know both of them very well. Brian is a solid guy and we're still close to this day. However, his wife was pure unadulterated evil, just a rotten human being, though still objectively attractive. Years went by and they got married. He changed and always seemed to be depressed and lifeless. It turns out his beautiful bride, Nicole, was manipulative, controlling, unfaithful, and abusive. He turned to alcohol and slowly became a functional but raging alcoholic. Eventually, she left him, they got divorced, and at some point 3 years later I ran into her at a bar. She tried to be friendly towards me, but I'm a loyal friend, and I made it clear where my loyalty stood. Despite not aging a day, being in impressive athletic shape, and dressing well, to me, she looked like someone whose true nature overshadowed her appearance. I mentioned it to Brian, and he agreed, saying he saw her true nature after 6 months of marriage. He's since sobered up, takes better care of himself, landed a better job than the one he lost, and is remarried. Unlike Nicole, whom he initially praised for her looks, he describes Heidi as a good woman and a really nice gal. His new wife is an amazing woman. Loving, kind, moral, and faithful, though somewhat plain and chubby. I've never played the numbers game with him. Objectively, I see a 5, but I can see the way he looks at her, and that man sees a 12. Vanity is great for casual relationships, friends with benefits, and one-night stands. I highly recommend enjoying life while you're young and meeting attractive people. However, eventually, you need to get lucky and find a partner who's both attractive and amazing, or get realistic and settle for someone you respect and can live with. They may not be the most attractive, but they can make you happy and not lead you to a point where your life falls apart. Story 45. Haha, you're so cute. You'll be a good friend to her. You're not wrong. If you realize something about her later, please update us. Story 46. In other words, you are an adult man who does not feel compelled to pursue every woman he meets. You can be friends, act maturely, treat a woman with respect, and enjoy their company. I fail to see the problem here. You are an adult man, that is what we do. Story 47. You will realize how attractive she is when another man comes and takes her away. Then you will regret it. Physical attraction is part of it, yes, but you can grow to be more attracted to someone, especially if you love them. I would be with her before someone else does. Story 48. Remember, you are looking for a partner, not a hookup. A hookup is all about looks. A partner is everything plus attraction. That is rare, and it sounds like you have it. Do not shake it until you try it. Story 49. If there's chemistry, then go with it. Otherwise, just be friends. People's looks change over time, sometimes for the better, sometimes not so much. 10 years from now, you could be with someone you picked because they fit your type, but you argue about bills, she doesn't feel like she gets enough attention, you're tired of her attitude, and intimacy is rare because you don't feel like wooing her due to all the issues, and she doesn't feel like it because you're not meeting her emotional needs. It works out a lot better if you pick someone because you actually want to spend time together and talk. Story 50. Let's be real here. Physical attraction is important, but a genuine connection is what truly matters in a relationship. If someone's personality is stimulating, you will learn to appreciate their body. What you cannot compromise on is the authenticity of the bond between you and your partner. There's no perfect appearance that will make you enjoy someone's company in the way required for a fulfilling relationship. If you enjoy spending time with her, that's someone you need in your life. Give her a chance, don't be shallow, and allow yourself to fall in love. Story 51. When you are younger, physical attraction feels more important. If you are not physically attracted, then that is that. But as you get older, you realize it is not as important as you once thought. Story 52. Yeah, so you have a friend. What's the problem? If she becomes a good enough friend, maybe you'll realize your type has changed. Maybe not. Either way, it's a win, right? Story 53. The text has been corrected for Azure Text to Speak AI. You are friends. If you're not attracted to her, you already have your answer. A romantic relationship is not worth pursuing and ruining a good friendship. Story 54. Can you clarify if you are physically attracted to her? I won't answer because I'm not a guy, but I'd like to be less confused. Story 55. Go for it if you feel that way. It's fine to have a type, but don't discount others just because they don't fit exactly. Story 56. Considering the complexities of attraction, it's not unusual to be drawn to someone who doesn't match your preconceived type. What ultimately sustains a relationship is the depth of connection and shared experiences. If she stimulates your mind and heart, even if she isn't your usual preference, isn't that rare chemistry worth exploring? It's not about leading anyone on, but giving a potentially great thing a chance to blossom. Remember, people aren't static. Our preferences evolve with us, including what we find attractive. So, why not embrace the unexpected path life has presented? After all, love often blooms in unexpected gardens. Story 57. Don't lead her on, but you never know what might happen. Be friends, enjoy being around each other, and maybe something sparks later. Story 58. People's outward appearance is never the same from day to day, year to year. It takes a significant event to change someone's personality. Story 59. My brother in Christ, does this woman attract you? Yes, more than a friend. Explore other relationships. B. No, just a friend. Keep it at that. Story 60. I have had one of those for over a year. She's not my girlfriend or anything, even though she keeps talking about it, but we hang out and travel together. However, I also feel like she stands in my way of finding an actual girlfriend I like. I'd say enjoy it while it lasts, but that's my opinion. Story 61. I don't know how old you are, but it seems strange that you would think you had to do something in this instance. You either see it going further with the girl or you don't. She either sees it going further or she doesn't. Whether it does or doesn't will take time, so if it were me and I wasn't repulsed by the girl, I would keep it casual and let it play out. Story 62. Just tell her. Keep the physical aspect to yourself, but who is forcing you to be with her other than yourself? Story 63. Friend zone her. Clearly, not all of the boxes are checked, only some of them. Anything else is a compromise, settling. Story 64. What exactly do you mean by what do I do? Do you want to have sex with her? Do you want her to be your girlfriend? Do you just want to be friends since you have no physical attraction to her? If you need advice, the only thing I can say is don't date someone you're not attracted to. Story 65. If you have feelings for her, give it a shot. I found my type to be a lot broader than I originally thought. Story 66. Man, why are you asking us? If you want to date her, ask her on more dates. If you don't want to date her, then don't pursue her romantically. Story 67. I know this can be frustrating, but a woman who meets all the criteria you're not attracted to is strictly a friend. You'll be seen negatively if you try to get her to change her appearance. Story 68. I feel like we need to know more. For instance, is she interested in you and believes these dates are leading to romance? Also, do you have any romantic feelings for her even though she doesn't fit your usual physical type? Being friends is great, but getting friend-zoned without knowing it's coming can be quite painful. I think you need to make your intentions clear with her. Story 69. If you're not interested in dating her and she is interested in dating you, you need to make that clear. Story 70. Well, the definition of a friend from Google is a person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family relations. Nothing complicated about it. Unless she has romantic feelings for you, then talk to her and tell her how you feel. She may understand and still want to be friends, or she might be sad and want to go separate ways. Story 71. Fundamentally, she's either a friend or someone you will forget in 6 months. I've been in situations where it was a sexual relationship but didn't work out, and we remained best buddies. Most of the time, there were uneven feelings on their end, and so I ended it. Story 72. 2 things you can do bravely. 1. End it here by saying you're not feeling it. Spend a little more time with her and try to build an emotional connection. For now, don't rush into anything physical. If this starts to feel meaningful, then you might realize its feelings, but if it doesn't and feels platonic, then you know where you stand. Story 73. At some point, you will learn to have friends of the opposite sex. Clearly, you have had some issues with that in the past, as this seems to not have crossed your mind. Story 74. Love is truly kind of blind after a while. If you get close enough, the idea of being intimate with someone whose soul you love should be very fulfilling. Obviously, everyone has different standards and desires. However, I know I would still desire my partner in any physical form. From a very happy and fulfilled person. Best of luck however it goes. Also worth pointing out that people age. So, if you're truly looking for a life partner, then it's very likely that whatever excites you might not last forever. It can be best to choose someone you genuinely enjoy being around and sharing your time with. Story 75. For a long-term relationship, personality is far more important. She just needs to be good-looking enough to trigger the attraction response in your animal brain. It's not a high bar. A woman's character is a high bar. Very few women are good enough people to be worth dating. Most will end up making your life worse than it would have been alone. If you found a woman who isn't like that, don't let her go. You won't find her replacement out there. Story 76. If you aren't sure, that should tell you everything you need to know. If you're not completely attracted to her, why not spare her future pain? I guarantee there is someone who would enjoy her personality and be totally physically attracted to her. That's what she deserves, not to settle for you. She would be the one settling for less, not you. You'd just be selfish. Ironic. Huh? Story 77. I think it depends on your value system. Obviously, you care about the physical aspect, about what you see and what others see next to you. If so, do not escalate the relationship to a sexual one and keep her only as a friend. If you escalate the relationship to sexual, you will likely lose the friendship too. It's your choice. Story 78. I was the girl in a situation exactly like this. He came clean a couple of months into dating, saying what you have just typed out here. Not saying anything about you, but a couple of months after that, he realized he was gay. Story 79. If 2 or 3 boxes out of 3 boxes are ticked, I would see how things go. You might grow to find her attractive. To be honest, if I love hanging out with a girl yet am not attracted to her but can see a future, I would pursue it. But ultimately, you do you, brother. Story 80. All women age and change. The girls that excite you excite all the guys. The girl you have sounds perfect. Commit to loving her. Story 81. Be her friend. Maybe chemistry will develop in both directions over time. If not, stay friends. Friendships are less work and drama than romances and are very high reward. Yes, even with women. Story 82. By done stuff. Do you mean she's a friend with benefits? Does she know that's all you two are? She might really be falling for you, so you need to make it clear you are just friends with benefits. Let her decide whether she wants to be platonic friends, or doesn't want anything to do with you at all. She deserves to know what you think your relationship really is. Story 83. As a woman who was strung along in a similar situation, do her a favor and tell her you like her as a friend. The guy who did this to me let this situation go on endlessly. He moved across the country to live with me but was indifferent about sex and physical attraction, while my love language is physical touch and intimacy. Things came to a head after over 3 years, and he told me I'm not physically his type and he's never really been attracted to me that way but loves everything else about me and what we have. Unbelievable. If you let this go on, you're being disrespectful. Story 84. Sounds like you're describing a friend. Men are capable of having platonic relationships with women, despite popular belief. Story 85. Don't even put her through that pain, the pain of not being fully invested in. That's an inconsiderate move. Story 86. Does she think you are both building towards a relationship? If so, you need to be honest about how you are feeling. Story 87. I knew a girl like this many years ago. She was fun and really into me, but I decided to chase others that never worked out. Looking back, I wish I had stayed with her. I have no idea where she is now, but it has always been a regret. Beauty is truly skin deep. Story 88. I am a narcissist. I can admit that, and I'm working on fixing it. I'm not all that great, but for some reason, my brain thinks I am. Without a shadow of a doubt, you think you are better than her. You think you deserve better, but you want her there in case you realize you don't deserve better. You don't even deserve her. Get over yourself, brethren. Story 89. Has your type ever worked before? If not, stop going for your type and choose someone who attracts you in other ways. Story 90. Are you actually not attracted to her? Or just hung up on the idea that she doesn't fit the model aesthetic? You did say you were attracted to her. I think since you're so young, it's not worth it now. You can try to be friends, but don't sleep with her again. You need to mature before you get into a relationship. Also, maybe you'll learn sooner than most men that most women don't like being objectified. Whether the woman is considered attractive or not, if she feels like your relationship is purely superficial, it is doomed. Clear communication and expectation management are key. Story 91. I applaud you for being honest. You will find a few drinks thrown in your face from time to time, but you will keep your respectability. Trust me, most men lie in this situation, and the girl ends up more hurt when she finds out the guy was just using her or stringing her along but never intended to take the next step, basically wasting her time under false pretenses. But let me offer you a warning. What tends to happen here is you start seeing every woman as just not quite what you are into, so you fall into a trap of never giving one a chance, and you wind up an eternal bachelor. My point is, if you sit around waiting for Miss Perfect, you are going to miss out on some tremendously dynamic, compassionate, sexy women simply because you got too used to looking for perfect. Life isn't perfect, and neither will your options for a soulmate. I'm not saying sexual attraction isn't a huge part, but the danger of making excuses as to why a woman isn't right for you is a hard habit to break. And you will find yourself alone. Take a risk every once in a while. I think you'll soon see every woman has different gifts that make them beautiful, sexy, and exactly what you are into. Good luck. Story 92. I'm just going to say that physical attraction seems easily manufactured and has little to do with the person. For example, if you saw a highly attractive nerdy girl who was always studying and never wanted to talk to you, would you feel more physical attraction to her versus the less attractive girl who was dancing sensually at a bar and pulled you onto the dance floor? It seems to me that when men say they are not sexually attracted to someone, what they really mean is that she didn't present herself in a sexual manner to them, so they are not turned on. I say this because men only seem to really desire me when I present myself sexually in some way. Otherwise, they always only see me as a friend. Story 93. She can be a friend, or you can do physical activities together that will encourage her to become your type. Story 94. Hey, 40-year-old man here. I met my wife 20 years ago through a shared friend. I was not physically attracted to her initially. She was honestly not very attractive, and she was a little heavier than my preference. We knew each other through friends and connected through conversations at parties. As this continued, I invited her on a group date. Again, we connected through conversation and shared experiences. She is super smart, level-headed, very independent, and financially responsible. She has all the qualities you would want in your life. As time went on, I became more attracted to her mentally, and eventually that relationship became physical. That was a lifetime ago. Here's my take. The physical attraction came after I was mentally attracted to her. Strange, yes, because I know men are hardwired to chase all the flashy things. It honestly was a blessing, and I now have a beautiful partner who is on the same wavelength. I wouldn't change my relationship at all. I think if you mentally connect really well with her, it might be worth a shot. There's a lot to be said about sharing goals and having someone of sound mind in your corner. Story 95. If you find her attractive and bond well with her personality, I highly recommend you give it a try. Looks fade, but conversation remains. Story 96. I get bummed out too when I enjoy someone's company and find them attractive, but there's no spark. For me, I have to have the spark. It's what makes it all feel good and exciting. I say move on. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.